So yes, this is the one with two continents. This was the one I was thinking of. Wow.
Very interesting system. This could be a really amazing game. Interesting to see what spawns players get as well, because if you get a bad spawn, then this is definitely sort of one where you might want to get a veto. But there's so much scope for dropping on this planet and really weird play. We see Matiz here saying "whoa" in chat.
Regretting using his veto.
Yeah, possibly.
I mean,
there's one very strong point here with a lot of metal sort of at the end of one of these islands. The metal is quite spread out and clustered on the coasts, which is really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be even more interesting if you get one player on each continent, because they're going to have to land on the other person's continent to really do enough damage. Because air v air while building up more air, while building up... I'm not sure I've ever seen a tug of war in the air build before. Have you?
Tug of war in terms of the air game?
Yeah.
It does happen, but we've got the players spawning in now. So, hello and welcome everybody to Game 2 in King of the Planet number 8, hosted here by ExodusEsports.com. I'm ZaphodX, and I'm joined here by Marshall.
Hello, folks.
And taking a little look, the players have spawned in. Matiz is going to be in pink for this tournament. He is going for a first air factory as he starts here on the coast next to this volcano. Very little space for his factories here, but a decent amount of metal as you have 5 right next to him and then another 4 very close. If we look over the lava pond here towards Clopse, he's also going first air, queued up a couple bit more of eco, and then he's moving on to a first land factory here. Now he only has 5 metal near him. He's really going to have to expand to get more metal, which is an important thing in the early game, but he really does have this huge amount of metal to the south of him, doesn't he? So he does have some great expansions, but early game he's going to be wanting for metal quite a bit.
Yeah, and I mean, as soon as these players scout each other, they're going to realise, oh damn, we're going to need to get on each other's continents, and I feel as though Clopse is going to have a harder time defending his continent than Matiz is defending his, especially given the way they've spawned. I mean, as long as Clopse expands to his east there, down that headland, he'll be able to defend from there. But moving out, he's going to have lots of avenues of approach, while Matiz has got a really geographical spawn there with lots of choke points at either end of his base. But, of course, as you say, he is going to have to move out of that in order to build sufficiently.
Scout flies immediately over Matiz's base there, so Clopse already has that early intel advantage. Currently Matiz spreading out his scouts, trying to do some work as well. A couple of fighters on the go. A couple of fighters also from Clopse actually moving on to another air factory here as he starts off with land engineers. So already starting on the expansion there. Very important not to lose those starting engineers. So very important in terms of Matiz as well then to get out some bombers and ideally damage that early expanding engineer from Clopse, because there's going to be a lot of time invested trying to move over to those metal points that are close to him.
Yeah, and Matiz has now scouted Clopse as well, and of course Matiz does have that Faber out first, so he is expanding faster, and as you said earlier, he does have all that proximal metal, but Clopse going now the second air. I suspect he'll probably, as you say, bring out bumblebees, but probably hummingbirds to bumblebee ratio of probably about 2 to 1, so as to maintain the air control.
I wouldn't be surprised if he does get a mixture of bombers in from that second air factory. You're always going to have an advantage when you go for that early second air. Interestingly, we actually see Matiz unfortunately built his factory next to that mechs and has lost the chance to build in it, so a little bit of a hiccup early on will slow him down a teensy bit. We did see a little bit of flyover from those air forces already beginning to exchange forces and get a slight advantage in terms of Clopse. Clopse here really needs to work on protecting these engineers that are now expanding out to try and start building this metal. Very important he doesn't lose them. Fighter's going to come over from Matiz. We might look from his point of view, see whether it gets some very important intel early on.
I mean, we can even see a radar queued up from Clopse, probably with that Faber after that metal extractor, so I mean that's going to get him some valuable intel as well. Bumblebee now coming in. Is it going to get the Faber? Not quite. Very well microed there from Matiz. The Bumblebee does go down as well due to that
nice
spinner.
Moves. Very nice moves from Matiz there. One thing he's pretty good at is something that you see in Subcom a lot is dodging bomber strikes using engineers, and he's shown that already a couple of times to be pretty proficient at that. Now protecting those two engineers as they expand out, being like very cautious with the amount of fires he actually sends over there, which is definitely, I think, the right choice. He's also got a bomber out himself now, Clopse, so he can start sending in some more attacks at these engineers. Killing these early engineers are really, really important, because Matiz is expanding pretty well right now. 3 engineers separately expanding, picking up a lot of the metal as they go. Yeah, bombers coming in from Clopse and gets shots down. Nice little pick up there from Matiz. Lucky to be in the right place at the right time there, and already doing very well for himself. Very even on the eco front at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's still no air fabbers though queued up, which is going to make their sort of assaults rather delayed. So it's definitely killing off the expansions while getting up to possibly bigger and better units. Even more air factories there queued up from Clopse. So he's I mean, it's definitely a hard airplay map. You can't really go hard vehicles though. T2 air from Matiz started already.
Wow, that's an interesting move. Can you see game time right now?
It's at 6:11.
Hidden for me, so I might ask you for that. Interesting, very much so, to see that T2 air already started, already coming along pretty well as well. T2 air very strong in terms of the bombers, and very nice long range air units, but still going to have to concentrate a lot on getting those T1 fighters out, because there is no T2 fighters anymore for the T2 air. Little confrontation going in there, slight advantage in terms of numbers for Clopse, and he actually loses less of his fighters there. He loses very few of them. Very lucky from there, still surviving with 5 when he went in something like 8 to 5 fighters and comes out still with 5 left. And that works out very favourably for him. He's also going for T2 now, starting with T2 vehicles and more air factories on the way. So it's going to be very important in this game to be getting out a lot of air, potentially getting out fabbers to do drops, because you've got 2 completely different continents here, and dropping and setting up production ground forces is a really powerful move that I'd like to see both players trying to do.
Now you talk about dropping, there is also the other avenue of getting across, and that is using teleporters. Now that's going to be probably more so the play for Clopse, given he's gone for the T2 vehicles, whereas it looks as though Matiz is going to try and pull off either Hornet snipes or Kestrel swarms with that T2 air factory. Because of course, don't forget, Hornets are in effect like the Broodlords now from StarCraft Wings of Liberty, where they can sort of fire at range and do a rather large amount of damage to the commander. I think it's only 9 hits and he's down.
Yep. We also saw that fighter from Matiz actually go over the T2, so I think he saw it there. He has seen that T2, so he already has a little bit more intel at an important juncture here, as he knows the timing on his air factories. He goes just above half right now. But if we have a little look at the army tab, what are we sitting at right now? Very even in terms of total metal invested in it, and still very early days at the moment, but things are going to start changing as soon as those T2 factories go up. Things are going to diverge pretty quickly, and very little aggression actually happening right now, as we see Clopse kind of has free reign to build up all these metal extractors that he has available to him.
Yeah, and he's even getting those vehicle factories down south as well. Sort of down under, if you will. That'll probably feed into his teleporter as well. I'm pretty sure he's going to go for a teleporter build, because there's no point in going for T2 air as well to get Pelicans, and there's not really all that much point in going for orbital just for the Astraeus, because they're only single unit transports, and you know, he's going to need more than 1 unit to get in, especially against T2 air as a defense.
Bomber there manages to take care of one of the engineers at the back of Matiz's base. Nice little pick up there for Clopse. Bomber does get shot down, however, by some of the anti-air. So the extended part of Matiz's base, island, still hasn't been taken, and Clopse still doing work capturing the medal that he's right next to.
Yeah, and getting his commander back on power. Both players in sort of fluctuating on power, which is good, but you don't want to be stalling for too long, especially when transitioning to T2. Clopse is a little bit behind in that regard, while Matiz has now got out his advanced fabricator to about 50% completion. Oh no, he's already got one out, so that's his second Fabra coming out as well. So
Matiz does a flyby, sees the commander, sees that the T2 is nearly finished. Now able to do a little bit more recon. Matiz currently leading in eco 200 to 170, looking pretty good so far. Both players very even on power at the moment.
couple of idle bombers from Clopse got shot down over the lava, so little needless losses like that should be avoidable and preferably can be. But now seeing Kestrels coming out from the T2 Air Factory, so those are going to be really good at raiding expansions, I feel.
Yeah, now moving on to the Hornets, the T2 bombers as well. So beginning to start that T2 production up, and he's also got quite a few fighters, quite a lot of ground anti-air as well. So his base is pretty solid in terms of ground anti-air. And a fighter comes in straight in there. What does he see? We might have to rewind. He does see the T2. Probably saw some of those units sitting there as well. As long as he was paying attention, that's some very important intel to be having as these T2 units start up. Do we actually see a T2 advanced Faber as well? He can start on the T2 Eco, so good work from Matiz there. A little bit further ahead, and as you say, I think we're going to be seeing raiding coming out, sending a whole swarm of fighters, and then send in those T2 units and just try and take out all of the outer mechs and damage the Eco of Clopse, and then hopefully just take it straight through to the win from that raiding.
I think this is going to be a really pivotal point in the game here for Clopse, because he needs more anti-air. He really badly needs it, because if he loses the air war now, if he loses air control with Hornets on the field, he is in a really tricky situation, because those can be out of range of spinners and ground AA while still taking hits on the commander. Though he is putting up some flak, which is good, but that commander at the moment is relatively open, though he is getting up spinners from pretty much every vehicle factory and hummingbirds from every air factory respectively. So there's the flyby again there, getting off another bit of scouting.
Looking pretty solid for Matiz as he starts that T2 power. Also got 3 engineers and a T2, which is quite a lot of build power, working on a nuclear missile launcher there. That's the same as 10 T1 engineers. So he's working on a nuke, which are very expensive these days. I think the anti-nukes are very cheap as well, aren't they? So it's an interesting choice, particularly if it doesn't get scouted, it might give him that advantage.
Yeah, definitely, but again, with all that power going up, he's going to be able to potentially even get out a second T2 air factory, because of course with the T2 fabricators, those dupe factories do go up very, very rapidly. But now Vanguard's coming out.
We see a teleporter coming out for Clopse, and it's just been spotted by Matiz, and in come the fighters. He's going to take care of those engineers, and they only get about a third of the way through there as they try to drop on that little island. So teleporter drops coming in. Such a pity there wasn't some fighters there to assist them and just get it out nice and quick.
Clopse getting ready for an air assault with all of those hummingbirds there, and Hornets mixed in with Kestrels as well. Looks as though he is ready for something.
Yeah, sending them all out. Looks like he's going to go the opposite direction. Interesting choice here. Perhaps he's going to go for that metal expansion rather than coming in at the main base.
Actually, no, that looks like an area patrol to me.
Yeah, that is a really weird thing for Matiz to be doing there.
I think that's to try and stop proxy tellies, because I think he does know now that there's vanguards on the field somewhere, even if he hasn't scouted them, because he has seen the teleporter there. And at this late in the game, it's a bit late to be going for metal points, wouldn't you think? So I'm pretty sure Matiz has realised that and knows that there's a significant T2 force from Clopse.
Yep, I think you're right. He absolutely has to protect from teleporters coming in on his island. That could be pretty devastating. You can also do tricky things like get a teleporter down, send a whole load of anti-air through, and then when they send their air units into scout and try and get rid of it, all those anti-air can actually get huge wins against their air force and change the tide of the air war. There's a teleporter up in the middle of the base for Clopse. A whole load of vanguards are actually just sitting here waiting. And lots of little scouting parties of 4 or 5 fighters keep coming through for Matiz, trying to get intel over where they can strike. A whole load of air fab has actually been built by Clopse, so they're kind of ready to go and build some more teleporters whenever they get the opportunity.
Yeah, and Matiz now as well, with his floating eco, is even going up to T2 vehicles as well, so as to defend his base against proxy vanguards. There's no better answer to vanguards than vanguards or shellers themselves. More Hornets coming out now. I suspect we count probably about 5 or so on the field total now, which is a significant number. That means only a couple of volleys free and the commander is gone. All the aircraft moving down south now. Clopse is moving some as well. Blimey, the teleporter is up as well.
Teleporter is up, it's not activated yet. In come the fighters, the teleporter activates, all the fabbers do go down, and out come vanguards. He didn't bring in his anti-air units, such a pity. He gets all his vanguards out, but in come these T2 units trying to go straight for the teleporter, stop any further units coming through. Some of those vanguards do get through, being focused down now as it goes below half. All those fighters come in, exchanging a lot of fire. A lot of the T2 units go down. Excellent work.
All the Hornets!
And the teleporter is still up. Great work here from Clopse. He loses all of his fighters, but somehow manages to get huge wins there, taking out all the T2 units. Whole load more Hornets also coming in for Matiz now, seeing if they can. They really need to take down that teleporter and stop any further units coming through. And I think Clopse here really needs to get some anti-air in with his forces.
Yeah, he definitely needs to swoop around the back of those Hummingbirds and take out those Hornets, because those are just going to shred through those Vanguards because they just move so slowly. We see there one going down, and another couple are injured, but you see how much damage those do, even against Vanguards. And the nuke launcher is ready now inside Matiz's base, and that's going to be producing that nuke latently, however. Not going to be particularly fast in production in that regard.
I can't open my chrono cam. Never mind.
An attempt at trying to snipe a few Hornets there, but 3 still standing. And all the Vanguards seem to have lost in, well, if you will, the Vanguard force that was heading up that little assault there. So they're all sort of grouping back now. Engineers coming through as well, putting up a proxy there as well. Needs to get up AA more.
I think that's what he's doing here. He's getting up those land factories so he can start pumping out the ground anti-air. And I think this is great. If he can hold on just for a little bit longer, he can get up factories here, start pumping out a ton of anti-air. And there'll be no response for Matiz here. He's currently still leading 450 to 360 medal income. But a whole load more fighters beginning to come in from Clopse as well.
Those Hornets moving out.
Those Hornets come forwards too early and get taken out. Last of the fighters also get taken out. A couple more anti-air support from the ground moves forwards to help out there, and those 2 factories now finished. Just need to start pumping out even more anti-air units. But great work from Clopse. He's getting his foot in the door here and making things very uncomfortable for Matiz here. He doesn't really have too many options, does he?
Well, he doesn't against this force. I mean, he really needs to get up that T2 vehicle factory. He's got a couple of air fabbers here and there, which could really be assisting the vehicle factory instead of the nuke, which is now a 3rd complete. I'm going to keep my eye on that. But the other option he has is, while he's sort of keeping Clopse at bay, who's going to be trying to defend this force coming in, it will be a race against time, but he could go and try and get a commander snipe himself by diverting all around, because there's not actually all that much AA in the base now of Clopse. There's only a couple of flat cannons.
Yeah, I've got to admit, in this sort of situation, it's very easy for Clopse's commander to be a little bit exposed. Very nice flyby with his fighters there. Manages to take out a couple of Hornets around the back that are unprotected. Moving in with some more, trying to catch them. The Hornets get caught out. Down goes 1, 2, 3. Almost the 3rd one gets taken out, and he's still going to try and chase them, and 2 of them manage to get away, which is lucky, taking a little bit of damage, but moving forwards with these other forces, take care of another 4 medal there, and more fighters come in, trying to desperately thin the forces. A couple of the ground anti-air really giving excellent support. Don't want to go near that ground anti-air. You're going to be losing valuable forces at this point. But really, Matiz has to defend against this, and it's really pushing him to the brink. Great work from Clopse as he expands and starts taking some of the medal that he's just managed to gain here, and actually going to regain the eco as he currently leads 430 to 380. Really excellent play from Clopse here as he puts a lot of pressure on Matiz.
Yeah, Matiz now stalling while Clopse is floating, so Clopse can probably go to T2 air if he really wanted to. And really mix things up. His teleporter's still active, sending through Vanguards every so often. So he's even pushed past that little attempted wall in there. But there are a large number of Hornets there, as long as they are protected, which haven't been too successful at doing. Getting too close to the spinners there, getting a little bit of damage done, having to retreat a little bit again. And more Hummingbirds coming in from Clopse on a pincer fashion again. Another Vanguard goes down.
Trying to chase in with those fighters as he comes in, manages to take care of a couple. 3 go down, 4 goes down. Very nice little play. He loses some of his fighters, but 4 of those T2 go down. That's still probably bordering on cost efficient. Either way, some of his forces are going to survive for a little bit longer as they move forwards, take care of another 4 metal extractors here. One they might accidentally wander past. They keep moving forwards, a little bit more anti-air support. But really, I would get out more land factories, which is exactly what he's doing, and producing more anti-air so that you can support these units and keep putting the pressure on. This may be Matiz heading towards a loss here because he's getting more and more in trouble as this game goes on. You do actually see some Pelicans in the mix, but it doesn't look like he's got anything to do with them.
Yeah, I mean, that T2 vehicle factory is not going to get completed. Those Vanguards are far too close and there's not enough Hornets there to deal with it. Not to mention the fact that Clopse has also scouted the nuke. Why Matiz is invested in an umbrella at this stage, I'm not entirely sure, because he hasn't, he hasn't scouted any orbital or anything. But yeah, there goes the vehicle factory now.
I think you need the orbital radar before you start going umbrellas.
Yeah.
And he's moving in towards the T2 power here. If we look from Clopse's point of view, he sees the best target, comes in, tries to take out more of the T2 air, working very successfully actually. It doesn't matter how many fighters he loses as long as he keeps taking out that T2 air and stopping the units that can actually stop his vanguards here coming through. 2 attacks coming in, one coming in from the north side completely unprotected, and one coming through here destroying some of the T2 power and some of the factories already built. If we look from all points of view here, he can't defend against both sides. Trying to defend against his southern side, but the northern side is just going to come through here. Destroy the T2 medal as well, as he falls very far behind in terms of eco. Yeah. Still a huge power income actually.
Sees the commander, and he sees the nuke, takes out all the fabricators, the nuke goes, and I think the GGs are going to be called right here, right now.
Yeah, Matiz does call the GG, Vanguards come through and lay the finishing blows to the commander there.
GG indeed.
Really well played by Clopse. Really well played by Clopse.
Hi Matiz.
Hey Matiz, how's it going?
Oh well,
not so good anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I was clueless. I had no idea what to do, so I tried some stuff. Now I would probably do some things differently, but yeah, that was very nice from Clopse and really well played. And yeah, I guess I got.
But you're doing pretty fine at first, and you stopped that initial transporter he tried to build on your base, but I think once he got on there, it seemed very difficult with your T2 bombers to actually drive him off.
Yeah, well, I was using them first time in the way that they are right now, but yeah, I should have probably used the combination of
T-bombers.
No, not really. Spinners plus tier 2 bombers. This way, land AA would destroy the interceptors, and then I would make like really a lot of tier 2 bombers, and then he would have no way to actually touch them. But I messed this up because I thought I need a lot of interceptors, but it was I think I could have pulled this off without interceptors, because I wanted to be aggressive in the air, but and spinners would only allow me to beat him on my eastern. Yeah. So I wasn't sure what to do, and then I just I just tried some stuff that didn't work, but well, if that happens next time, I think I would be better prepared with such combination or something else maybe.
Would you say you're usually confident with these type of games?
Yeah, well, it's always, when you face such thing first time, then you don't really. I sometimes, yeah, I'm definitely less confident than in normal games, but it's only one thing. That's the difference between me and all these people that challenged me. I can get surprised once, maybe twice, but then I learn from my mistakes, and then I can evolve and adapt. But right there, since no one can beat me on in normal macro straight up game, it still works out pretty good for me. So yeah, well.
Fair enough. Are you still confident then going into game 3?
Yeah. Since I picked obviously tennis, so that's gonna be fun.
Okay, good luck. If you want to host up as to lose this round, you choose the next one, and we will quickly speak to Clopse, and then we'll start into game 3. Hey Clopse, how's it going?
How's things, guys? Feeling a little better after that.
Yeah, certainly went pretty well for you, didn't it?
Yeah, when I seen him when he went T2 air, I kind of knew I had the game, because I don't think it's good enough at the minute. So I had a feeling like if I just spam enough fighters, I'd be okay.
He also invested a lot in a nuke, which he never managed to get off.
Yeah, I seen that. That could have hurt, but it's 86,000 or something. It's such a lot of money.
Yeah, it would have hurt, but I don't know if it would have been cost effective, really.
No, I don't know. Like, he could have hit my commander and then got bombers at me. That's probably the best way to finish it. But he didn't seem to have any bombers, which I was surprised by. But I don't know. It was a good game. Well, it probably wasn't so good to watch. It was more we build and then we make a move. So
no, it was definitely pretty interesting. Either player could have had it in the bag, but I think your strategy sort of ran well, and he wasn't really sure how to deal with it properly. I don't think he's used T2A in this match.
Yeah, they're quite slow, so that's what I was thinking. I could see them coming in from a distance. But yeah, I'm a little more confident now. Now I have to try beat him on his own map, and then then I can shut him up a little bit. But yeah.
Indeed. Well, he gets to choose this map. It's probably going to be a moon. What do you reckon it'll be?
I hope it's a moon actually, because I picked the first moon I picked. That style that I had built, the build I had there was more suited to the map I picked in the first place. And the first map he had the position I wanted. The water position was a really nice start because it had loads of metal and it suited just an air rush game, and his tanks couldn't get through so quick, and his ground forces wouldn't be able to hit me so fast.
Yeah,
so, but we can see how this goes.
All right. Well, if you want to go into the game, and we will see how you guys do in game 3, as you currently sit even at 1-1 all.
Right. Thank you.